The training hall on Sentinel Station smelled of ozone and recycled air. Lisa Chen stood at parade rest, her boots magnetically locked to the deck plating as artificial gravity hummed beneath her feet. Across the mat, Instructor Vector flexed his 4 arms, each corded with muscle that evolution had designed for the crushing gravity of his homeworld. "You are soft," Vector announced, his translator rendering the clicks and hisses of his native Crethian into flat, mechanical English. "Your species is soft. Your bones are hollow. Your muscles are weak. You survived only because your world was gentle." Alex Rodriguez, standing beside Lisa in the formation of human recruits, tensed. She could see his jaw working, the same way it always did when he was biting back words. They'd been in the Galactic Defense Initiative for 3 months now, 3 months of being told that humanity was the weakest link in a chain of species that had been spacefaring for millennia. "Instructor," Lisa said, her voice steady, "permission to speak." Vector's compound eyes fixed on her, each facet catching the blue-white light of the station's luminescent panels. "Denied. You are here to learn, not to question." The GDI training protocol was simple. Take the newest species to join the galactic community and break them down. Rebuild them into something that could survive combat against the Void Dwellers, the extra-dimensional entities that had been picking off colony worlds for the past decade. Humanity, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 5 years prior, was the newest addition to the coalition. And the most looked down upon. Vector gestured with 2 of his arms. "Chen, forward." Lisa unlocked her boots and stepped onto the mat. The surface was a smart gel that could adjust its friction and hardness based on the training parameters. Today, it was set to standard, firm enough to stand on, soft enough that a fall wouldn't crack a skull. "Human physiology is a joke," Vector continued, circling her like a predator. "Your planet's gravity is barely half that of Kreth Prime. Your ancestors hunted with thrown stones while mine crushed prey with our bare hands. You have 2 arms when efficiency demands 4. You have no natural armor, no venom, no enhanced sensory organs." "And yet," Lisa said quietly, "we're here." The instructor's movement was liquid fast. One moment he was 3 meters away, the next his primary right fist was streaking toward her face, a blow that could have shattered her orbital bone if it connected. Lisa's hand snapped up and caught his wrist. The training hall went silent. 23 recruits from 6 different species stopped breathing. The impossible had just occurred. Vector's compound eyes widened. He pulled back, testing her grip. Lisa's fingers, wrapped around his wrist, didn't budge. Her arm trembled with the effort, tendons standing out like cables beneath her skin, but she held. "How?" Vector started. "Earth gravity is 9.8 meters per second squared," Lisa said, her voice strained but clear. "Kreth Prime is 18.2. Your muscles are designed for strength. Ours are designed for endurance." She tightened her grip. "You can hit harder, but we can hold on longer." She released him and stepped back, dropping into a ready stance that Alex recognized from their training in the old world. Feet shoulder-width apart, weight on the balls of her feet, hands up but open. Vector rubbed his wrist with another hand, his expression unreadable. Then, without warning, he attacked again. This time he used all 4 arms, a blur of strikes that came from angles that human opponents simply couldn't manage. But Lisa didn't try to block them all. She wove between them, her body moving with a fluidity that seemed impossible for someone supposedly outmatched. She ducked under a high strike, sidestepped a low one, caught another wrist, and used Vector's own momentum to pull him off balance. The instructor stumbled, surprised. "Human ancestors weren't the strongest," Lisa said, breathing hard. "We weren't the fastest. We couldn't climb like primates or sprint like predators, but we could chase prey for days. We could track animals until they collapsed from exhaustion. We could throw projectiles with accuracy no other species on our world could match." She stepped in, close enough that Vector couldn't use his reach advantage. "We won our planet through persistence, through adaptation, through refusing to quit." Alex watched, his heart pounding. Every human in the formation was watching. They'd all been subjected to the same speeches, the same derision, the same assumption that they were only in the GDI because the coalition needed warm bodies to throw at the void dwellers. Vector's next attack was more cautious, more measured. He was taking her seriously now. They traded blows for 30 seconds that felt like an eternity. The Instructor was stronger, absolutely. Each blocked strike sent shockwaves up Lisa's arms. But she was faster in tight spaces, more flexible, and her endurance was inhuman by Krethian standards. Where Vector began to slow after a sustained assault, Lisa kept moving at the same pace. Finally, she found her opening. Vector overextended with a three-armed combination, committing his weight forward. Lisa dropped low, swept his legs, and used a technique that would have been impossible for a four-armed opponent. She rolled, bringing him with her, and ended up on top with her elbow pressed against his throat. "Yield," she said softly. The translator carried the word through the hall like a thunderclap. Vector tapped the mat with two hands, the universal signal for submission. Lisa stood and offered her hand. After a moment, the Instructor took it, allowing her to help him up. "You understand tactics," Vector said, his tone different now, respect instead of dismissal. "You understand your limitations and work within them." "We had to," Lisa replied. "Earth taught us that the strong don't always survive, the adaptable do." The Instructor turned to address the entire formation. "I have trained recruits from 17 species. Each has advantages. The Krethians have strength. The Velosians have speed. The Dendrii have distributed neural systems that make them nearly impossible to incapacitate." His eyes swept across the humans. "Humans have something different. You have the ability to imagine your own defeat and plan around it. You have the stubbornness to keep fighting when you should be dead. You have the creativity to turn weakness into strategy." He looked back at Lisa. "Chen, what is your planet's gravity?" 9.8 meters per second squared, sir. "And this station operates at?" 12.3, sir, galactic standard. "Which means every moment you train here, you're training under conditions heavier than what your body was designed for." Vector nodded slowly. "While I'm training under conditions lighter than Kreth Prime. The disadvantage I mentioned, it was mine, not yours." Alex felt something shift in the room. The weight of expectation, the burden of being the weakest link, it cracked like ice under spring sun. "All recruits," Vector announced. "Rodriguez forward." Alex's eyes widened, but he stepped onto the mat. "Show me," the Instructor said, settling into a stance, "what human stubbornness looks like." Alex glanced at Lisa, who gave him the smallest nod. Then he raised his fists. The Instructor threw the first punch. Alex caught his wrist. And in that moment, humanity stopped being the Coalition's charity case and became something the galaxy would learn to respect. Survivors who had dragged themselves up from a garden world through sheer determination, who had looked at the stars and refused to accept that they didn't belong there, who had joined the fight against the void dwellers not because they were strong, but because they were too stubborn to quit. The training hall erupted in a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and cheers from 24 different species. Humanity had thrown its first real punch in the galactic arena. And the galaxy had felt it.